Leh Ladakh, the land of high passes, pristine rivers, and breathtaking landscapes. But behind the beauty lies a mounting crisis that is waste. Every tourist season, tons of garbage pile up in this fragile Himalayan desert. Can Leh handle the trash, or are we burying the Himalayas under plastic? Let's take a look. The scale of the problem. Leh has a population of just about 30,000 people, but in tourist season, lakhs of visitors arrive. Imagine the pressure, a small mountain town suddenly generating waste like a mini city. Most of this waste is plastic water bottles, food wrappers, disposable cups, and hotel trash. Add trekking groups leaving behind cans, sanitary waste, and broken camping gear in remote valleys. Earlier, Ladakhi households relied on natural biodegradable material, but now the lifestyles have shifted. Packaged food and plastic has taken over. And Leh simply doesn't have the infrastructure to process it. Why Leh struggles? Waste management in Leh is uniquely difficult because the remote location, transporting waste out of Leh is expensive and thin resources. The municipal body has very limited vehicles, manpower, and no large recycling plants. Then, tourism boom. The waste peaks during summer months, overwhelming the systems. Open dumping and burning. Without processing, the garbage ends up in open sites or is burnt, releasing toxic smoke into thin air. What are the consequences of this? The cost of unmanaged waste is high. Water contamination. Ladakh depends on glacial streams. Dumping threatens drinking water. Wildlife impact. Stray animals feed on garbage, creating health and safety issues. Tourism image. The piles of plastic near monasteries and trekking routes spoil the very beauty tourists come for. Health hazards. Burning garbage adds to air pollution and increases the respiratory risk. Did the government put in any effort? The Ladakh administration has taken some steps, like banning on plastic bags and single use plastics, waste segregation drives in Leh town, small composting plants for organic waste, clean Leh campaigns with local NGOs, awareness programs for hotels and homestays. But here's the catch, enforcement is weak. Plastic still flows in within the tourists, composting units are too few. And without large scale recycling plants or strict tourism guidelines, waste keeps piling up. What are the community and activist efforts? Local groups, schools, and eco activists have been pushing for change, encouraging tourists to carry refillable bottles, promoting ecotourism, and even experimenting with sustainable infrastructure. These efforts prove that community involvement is key, but they need bigger support. What are the possible solutions here? So, what can be done? Leh can learn from other mountain regions like Sikkim or Bhutan. Reusable water stations is the first step to cut down on bottled water demand. Strict tourist guidelines, extremely strict, I would say. Carry back rules for waste, limiting on plastic usage. Segregation at the source. Every household and hotel must separate wet and dry waste. Local recycling tie ups, small decentralized units instead of one large plant would help. Eco-friendly alternatives, cloth bags, biodegradable packaging, and so many other alternatives are a must in regions like this. Tourist awareness, making sustainability part of the Ladakh travel experience is the first and foremost training that every tourist must undergo even before stepping into such fragile zones. Based on the recent statements, protests, and FARs, the demands and concerns in this particular area includes environmental protection of Ladakh's fragile ecology. Ladakh is ecologically very sensitive. High altitude desert, cold climate, glaciers, limited soil, sparse water, and fragile flora and fauna. Ladakhi groups want inclusion of Ladakh under the sixth schedule so that local people can have more say over decisions affecting environment and resources. Locals worry about loss of land rights, grazing pastures, damage to cultural heritage because development is often top down without enough local participation. They also raise concerns about over tourism, water stress, and pollution. Why these demands are important? Environmental degradation impacts every aspect of life in Ladakh livelihoods, drinking water, cultural practices. But why the government is against this or the obstacles for this? Concern that granting sixth schedule or statehood could fragment decision making or weaken centralized authority in a border region. Fears that stringent environmental rules might block infrastructure, defend strategic projects, or delay investments. Capacity constraints, setting up local legislative bodies, mapping out laws, powers, budgeting requires careful planning and might be complex administratively as well. Balancing national versus regional interests. The government may argue that some central oversight is necessary for uniformity, strategic security, or development goals. Possibly political risk. Giving too much autonomy may lead to further demands or risk of separatist movements, though activists insist they are non-violent and within an Indian constitutional framework. So, as an environmental engineer and pretty concerned for Ladakh, I have some middle ground solutions that I would like to put across. If you agree with me, comment below. The Special Environmental Zone, that is SEZ for ecology, instead of the full six schedule of statehood, which raises political security worries, I think Ladakh could be declared a special environmental zone. This would actually give strong legal protection to glaciers, rivers, grazing pastures, and fragile ecosystems, but keep defense and border strategy firmly under central control. Empowering local councils, but with limits. Leh and Kargil Hill Development Councils could be strengthened with clear powers over land use approvals, except for defense projects, and tourism regulation, capping tourist numbers seasonally, waste management and water protection. Defense, foreign policy, and large infrastructure still should remain under the central government authority, or create a co-governance model, like create a Ladakh Environment and Developmental Authority along with central government representatives, local elected representatives, scientists and ecologists, and all major projects should need LEDA, that is the Ladakh Environmental Developmental Authority clearance, and should ensure both ecological and strategic checks. Create a sustainable development package. Instead of allowing unchecked industries, the center should invest in renewable energy, that is solar, wind, micro, hydro, in eco-friendly ways. Eco-tourism instead of mass tourism. Local employment schemes and conservation, waste management, and handicrafts. This would actually balance youth aspirations for jobs with environmental protection. The scientific monitoring, satellite plus local monitoring of glaciers, permafrost or water tables, and publishing an annual Ladakh climate report card, which actually makes the environmental risks more transparent. There must be tourist caps, carrying capacity approach, that is each valley, each trekking route, campsite has a scientifically assessed carrying capacity, like how many people the land, water, and waste system can sustain without damage. Based on this, the authorities can cap the number of annual visitors to Ladakh, or even the zone-wise caps like Pangong Lake, Nubra Valley, etc. The permit system should be with an eco fee. Every tourist, every trekker or influencer entering Ladakh beyond Leh town needs a green permit. Eco fee collected goes directly into the waste management, local conservation, and community livelihoods. The rotation and no revisit policy. To prevent repeat crowding, a rotation system can be introduced. Like example, a visitor can return to Ladakh only after a 2 or 3 years gap. This ensures fair opportunity for everyone who wants to visit Ladakh, while reducing the stress on the same trails and campsites. And there must be strict rules for campers and trekkers to carry back their waste, and no group should leave behind any garbage, and fine should be imposed for any violations. Next, the certified eco operators should only be allowed to partner with trekking agencies and camps, and they must register as eco compliant. And next, the ban on disposable plastics throughout these campsites must be enforced strictly. The last but not the least, composting toilets and refillable water stations must be made mandatory. The influencers who promote Ladakh must follow responsible tourism guidelines. No littering, no off-road driving, no viral stunts that damage the fragile zones. And the platforms can be nudged to promote eco-tourism content over reckless adventurous reels. I think this really works because it protects Ladakh's ecology, it gives a fair access to everyone who wants to visit Ladakh, and it boosts the local economy because of the homestays going directly to the Ladakh people, and reduces security worries as well because fewer and accountable tourists are easier to regulate near sensitive border zones. Basically, Ladakh should move from quantity tourism to quality ecotourism. The future of Ladakh lies in development that is renewable and sustainable, where the growth protects its fragile mountains and rivers instead of threatening them. For more such informative videos about sustainability, do follow Go Greenism. Like, share, and subscribe our channel. We'll be back with another interesting video next week. Until then, go green. Thank you.